Bonjour les élèves. Today we're going to talk about how to form a question en français. Now, throughout each chapter, we've already learned many questions like comment allez-vous for how are you, quel âge as-tu for what is your age, à quelle heure est-il for what time is it, and vous êtes combien dans votre famille for how many people are there in your family. Now, if you just want to ask a question where you're going to get a simple yes or a no for an answer, you can simply turn any statement into a question by adding a question mark if you're writing or raising the inflection of your voice if you're speaking. Par exemple, we can take this statement, nous avons les devoirs, and make it a question, nous avons les devoirs, by changing our punctuation. So that's a simple way of asking a question. If we want to say, do we have homework? We can just simply say, we have homework. And you don't have to worry about the word do. So that's a simple way of asking a question if we just want a yes or no for an answer. Now, if we need some information in our answer, we need to use question words to get that information. And there's a little formula that I'm going to give you in order to set up your questions when you need to get some information. First of all, you'll start with your question word, and in a minute we'll review all of the question words that we've learned and learn a couple more. Then you can follow that question word with the expression est-ce, which you may remember having seen before. Est-ce literally means is it that, but it best is translated as do or does. Then, after that, we'll have the subject of our question and then our verb and then anything else that we might have before the question mark. So, if I show you an example that illustrates that, we have the question, quand est-ce que tu as les maths? The question word is quand for when. Then we have the expression est-ce to say do or does. Then our subject tu, then the verb a, noticed, is conjugated for the subject to, and then the rest of our question. Meaning, en anglais, when do you have math? So the question words that we have to remember when asking questions are à quelle heure for what time is it, quand for when, comment for how, combien for how much or how many, qui for who, avec qui for with whom, où for where, pourquoi for why, and qu'est-ce que, which is actually the word que before est-ce to say what. Okay, let's look at some examples of questions that use some of these new question words. So if we want to get some information about when something occurs, we'll use the word quand, like in this question. Quand est-ce que tu joues de la guitare? When do you play guitar? And you can notice in the answer we have the information chaque soir that tells us I play guitar each evening. If we want to get some information about where something occurs, we would say où est-ce que tu joues de la guitare? Where do you play guitar? Or you could translate it as where is it that you play guitar? Notice the person answers je joue à ma maison. I play at my house. If you want to know with whom somebody does something, avec qui est-ce que tu joues de la guitare? And there's a mistake there with guitar. There shouldn't be that I right there. That should just be guitar. Notice this person answers, je joue avec mon frère. I play with my brother. Or, comment est-ce que vous jouez de la guitare? How do you all play? Or we would say, how well do you all play guitar? Notice this person answers, nous jouons. We play guitar well. Nous jouons bien de la guitare. I want you to take a close look at how the verbs in the question are conjugated to go along with tu, or in the fourth question, vous, and how the answers, the verbs, are in a different form. You have to pay attention to that subject-verb agreement. Okay, just a couple other things to talk to you about with questions. You won't actually use the expression est-ce when the verb is être, like in this example, où est ta guitare? Where is your guitar? If you were going to use that following the formula, the question would be où est-ce que ta guitare est? Literally saying where is it that your guitar is. It's too long and it repeats the word est, so we can just say où est ta guitare? It follows, if your verb is going to be a form of être, you're just going to follow the same word order that we would use in anglais. Also, if your subject in your question, the person that you're talking about, is the word qui, who, you're not you're also not going to need to use est que. The word qui would be wherever somebody's name would have gone in a statement. So for example, qui joue de la guitare à ta maison? Who plays guitar at your house? Notice qui is right there at the beginning, and we don't need to have est que following it. We just put qui where, for example, if we wanted to say mon père joue de la guitare, we would just put qui where the subject would go in the sentence. Okay, that does it for asking questions for now en français. Au revoir les élèves.